Another fire at the New Providence landfill sends clouds of smoke across the island. The former Deputy Prime Minister calls on the current DPM to resign amid the Nygaard bacon scandal. Plus, a COB professor voices concerns about the country's brain drain problem. We've got those stories and a lot more coming up tonight. Happy Easter Monday. I'm Dana Smith, and MB12 starts right now. Topping news tonight, officials at Renew Bahamas are fearing that their recycling plant worth millions of dollars may have been damaged after yet another fire. The company's CEO said despite efforts of Renew Bahamas employees and the fire department, the blaze was just too massive and sent plumes of thick, smelly smoke into the air that could be seen for miles. Kyle Joaquin reports.
I think at the moment we're just very concerned about the damage to the equipment and obviously the extreme discomfort that this will cause to the residents in surrounding areas.
Another fire at the New Providence landfill just a few weeks after a different blaze sent smoke into the air, causing quite a headache for Renew Bahamas officials and discomfort for nearby residents who have to breathe it in and live in it. But the company's CEO says this fire isn't necessarily in the landfill this time, but at the foot of it, a bit too close to their new $5 million recycling plant.
We've sent the employees home, but pretty much all of them have stayed to try and help to put out the blaze and to assist where they can. So I think for now what we're trying to do is just make sure that we try to protect the assets and try to get the fire out as soon as possible.
Now what you're looking at in the distance is Renew Bahamas' recycling plant. It's still fairly new but rather close to that fire. Now at the moment, Renew executives aren't sure as to the extent of the damage which that machine may have received. But they say that's something they will have to determine once the fire has been extinguished. Social media went abuzz as Nasubians could see the smoke billowing to the sky. Images of the smoke cloud spread like wildfire, with people as far as Paradise Island posting about it. A plane headed toward Lynden Pindling International Airport even flew right through the smoke. Head of the fire department, Superintendent Walter Evans, explained that this fire came at a bad time as crews were in the middle of battling other fires in the capital. Is the fire under control as of now?
The fire is pretty much under control. It's already in a contained area, but due to the amount of items which are burning, there's a number of items which are burning deep in heaps, and so we had to ensure that at least be able to minimize the amount of heat and to stop the spread from going into other areas.
Private trucks filled with water could be seen going back and forth in and out of the landfill area assisting fire crews. Fortunately, Evans said there was a light breeze blowing towards the north, which made the blaze a bit easier to battle. The cause of the blaze is still unknown, and as for how long it'll take to get the smoke suppressed,
at this stage, to be pressing heat right now, that may pretty much take a couple of days. It depends upon the amount of heat and the amount of the resources that are being deployed. But every effort I know is being made right now jointly between Renew and the Royal Bahamas Police Force to ensure that we have this fire extinguished within the shortest possible time.
Again, Renew CEO said the company is hoping for the best when it's time to assess the damage done to their recycling plant. For NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
A patient at the Princess Margaret Hospital who was being treated in isolation for a still unknown illness has died. But officials today maintain it's unlikely the victim was suffering from Ebola. The 51-year-old woman passed away on Sunday after traveling to Johannesburg, South Africa 2 weeks ago. She returned to the Bahamas on March 15th. Reports had quickly spread Saturday that she was being treated for Ebola. However, the Ministry of Health once again laid rest to those claims today. In its statement, it noted that according to the World Health Organization, South Africa to date has no reported cases of Ebola. However, a meeting was held this morning with senior health officials, including the health minister and officials from the Pan American Health Organization, at which it was confirmed that conclusive testing is being facilitated for a number of infectious diseases, including Ebola, through the Center for Disease Control in the United States. Well, a little more than a week after Minister of Education, Science and Technology and Member of Parliament for Marathon Jerome Fitzgerald read an email thread among several Save the Bay members in the House of Assembly. The Data Protection Commissioner is speaking out. Charmy Farrington Austin said in a statement, the practice of obtaining private citizens' correspondence and tabling them in the House of Assembly is a most dangerous trend and opens up the society to chaos. And citizens have a right to expect that their private communications would enjoy the protection afforded them under the laws of the country. Austin said although documents tabled in the House of Assembly enjoy parliamentary privilege and the Data Protection Commissioner is not the appropriate authority to make any rulings or comments with respect to the admissibility of correspondence in the House of Assembly, it is her view that members of Parliament ought to be cognizant of the fact that members of the public expect their MPs will be held to the same standard as ordinary citizens, and no one is above the law. Well, Fitzgerald has responded to the Data Commissioner's comments in a joint statement with Foreign Affairs Minister and Fox Hill MP Fred Mitchell. The two men say, we have no comment to make on the Data Protection Commissioner's personal views on the matter, except that we note with interest that no formal complaint has been received by her, and therefore her statement and commentary in the absence of a formal complaint is indeed curious. The two MPs said they want to point out that, in their opinion, this matter is not about unauthorized emails, but about what they call a well-funded environmental organization that is not about the environment, but is about politics and destabilizing the government. They said the Data Commissioner herself recognizes that the Act has no jurisdiction with regard to statements and documents laid in Parliament. We agree. They said the matter has been formally referred to the Committee on Privileges, which has the power to send for persons and papers, and they will cooperate with the Committee of the House fully. They added, let the public be assured that neither of us is a party to any unauthorized access to emails. Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis should resign or be fired for his reported relationship with the alleged gang members at the center of the ongoing Nygaard-Bacon controversy. This according to former Deputy Prime Minister Brent Simonet, who told NB12 given Davis has been named in court affidavits and allegations have been raised that the Deputy Prime Minister may have coached them, it's best he steps aside.
Prime Minister Mr. Christie should do what Mr. Ingram did to, I think it was Pierre Depuch. Have your letter of resignation on my desk by 5 o'clock or you're fired. That's what the leadership of this country does. But unfortunately, the Prime Minister himself is involved in this. So this does not look good for the Bahamas.
During his contribution to the mid-year budget debate, Davis decried the effort to, in his words, besmirch his name as political mischief. But he declined to respond directly to claims that he coached two men who claimed they were paid money as part of an alleged murder plot. Several videos have been released purportedly showing meetings billionaire Lyford Key resident Peter Nygaard had with two alleged gang members. In the video, Nygaard repeatedly calls the names of Davis and the Prime Minister. The gang members also claim to have close links with Davis.
Deputy Prime Minister sits there and says, let the allegations work their way out. He shouldn't be sitting there. In Britain, they would have been gone long time.
Although he did not indicate he knows either of the men in question, Davis told Parliament, quote, no one should be surprised that I have association with many young men with the central purpose of getting them to understand that antisocial behavior and lies or criminality are harmful. Well, Simonet said the controversy doesn't reflect well on the country and is sending the wrong message to the international community. And at the very least, he said, Davis needs to go.
At the minimum. I mean, you know, if this was, if there was a freer, or if we were in a tighter electoral, you'd have a vote of no confidence in the House of Assembly. That's the level I'd put it at.
The PLP has taken the FNM to task for its involvement in the controversy after its chairman and Senator Michael Pintard resigned from his post. Opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis came under fire for meeting with one of the alleged gang members. Well, Simonet accused the PLP of attempting to deflect the controversy away from its members and said perhaps the government needs to take a look at its own.
I think rather than the Progressive Liberal Party throwing, oh, Minnis has got a problem or Pintard's got a problem, I think they should look at themselves in the mirror, because after all, they are the government of the Bahamas for all Bahamians. And this is hurting all Bahamians. This isn't just hurting F&Ms. This is hurting all Bahamians, and we need to take the high road and do what has to be done. Pintar did the right thing. He obviously has a difficulty in that these allegations have come up. He's stepped aside to have a chance to defend his name, and that's why I say the same affects to an even larger extent Mr. Davis. He should step aside, still retain his seat, come out of the cabinet, don't have the cloak of the privilege of cabinet, the second in command in this country, acts for the Prime Minister when the Prime Minister is away. He definitely should step down for the sake of the Bahamas.